You have to remember that neon isn't magic, though for a long time I thought it was.
Magic how?
If you can put this gas into a vacuum tube and get power to it, it will light up. And it will do so without being consumed. And as long as you don't break down the glass, it will do it maybe till the end of time. Name something like that that's not in Harry Potter. You know, it just doesn't exist.
Remember the great masturbation scare? I mean, you wouldn't remember it. You didn't live through it, but it was a thing.
I think I was studying for that exam, actually.
Yeah, just practice.
I didn't know there was a scare. I wasn't scared. No, this is a real thing.
The great masturbation scare tore through the country in the late 19th century. And
you're right. I don't remember that. Clearly.
Which, by the way, man, you look, I mean, when did I see you last?
10 years ago.
Yeah.
11 years ago.
What's the Oscar Wilde? Was it Dorian Gray?
Yeah, so you look exactly the same.
There must be a picture of you in a garage somewhere that looks like hell, because you look the exact same.
I would like to see that picture, actually. I imagine it looks exactly like what I think I look like.
Chuck, can you find that photo online for me real quick?
Oh, sure.
Find that.
No, I can't find it real quick.
Find that garage.
So the great masturbation scare was a thing in this country, and it was really preached from the pulpit. And it was deemed a sin. And what was interesting about it was there were a lot of tangential things that were being argued from the pulpit that were encouraging this behavior. And one of them was diet, right? So the kind of foods we ate.
This is Victorian?
Yes.
era?
Well, I think like 1870s, 1880s.
Okay.
One of the dogmas around discouraging self-abuse was the eradication of sugar and flour, and really anything that made food taste good, because the argument was that kind of pleasure would lead
to the other kind of pleasure.
Correct. And so the story concerns a famous reverend who preached the eradication of those dietary supplements and created a cracker that just didn't taste like anything at all.
Like hardtack kind of thing?
Very much like hardtack,
Yeah.
which is, of course, what the sailors relied upon as they sailed around the world.
Along with masturbation.
Along with masturbation.
Okay. Just
What
to be
shall we
clear,
do with the drunken
that's
sailor?
right. You
Yeah.
got the hardtack in one hand and something else in the other.
And the harder tack in
Yeah.
the other. The pastor was named Sylvester Graham, and his crackers, eventually purchased by Nabisco, are now filled with sugar and flour, which is why the country still can't keep its hands off itself, I suppose.
Wow, it's too bad that we do not have money invested in Nabisco right now, because shares are going to soar.
Yeah.
Or just rise.
Look at us. There we
Wow.
are, 10 years
look.
ago. Look
Okay.
at you. I mean, aside from the bad, and that's me. I got another 20 pounds.
We're both
on the road.
grayer.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and it still looks just like that. Only I'm not in that building anymore.
Your place, I'll never forget walking in there the first time and just thinking, is it possible you could have deliberately trashed it to this extent just to make some kind of impression upon me and the crew?
You thought you were doing an episode of Hoarders.
I couldn't savvy it, as the sailors would say. It just didn't make sense. But you're not there anymore?
No, I'm not. I moved out of there 5 years ago and ended up buying an old gas station, which I then pretty much trashed the same way, but it's not as bad. Nothing was as bad as that. And ironically, I did it because they raised my rent. This is what happens in Austin. You raise your rent till you have to leave. I said, I'd love to buy it. I had the option. They said, well, the option only works if we want to sell it, and we don't want to sell it.
Yeah.
I got out, ended up buying this place not far away. Great. The landlords then leased it to this company out of Chicago, Foxtrot, little neighborhood grocery place. They spent millions fixing up the whole building and turning it into this, neighborhood grocery concept. They were doing 33 of them across the country. I got to do the sign, which was a little ironic to be back on this building. And now with money behind me, I'm getting to do what I never would have got to do for myself. And we know I wouldn't have made it nice.
Yeah.
I'm incapable of that.
No.
I'm good at making other people's make things look nice. That's sort of my job. They lasted 1 year and then went bankrupt like that overnight. No notice to vendors, no notice to employees. Only the top people got wind and got out.
How long have you been in business?
3 years as Neon Jungle, and then 5 years before that just working with vintage signs.
No.
So a while.
Was it Neon Jungle when I was there?
Mm-hmm.
You were calling it that then?
I'm calling it that. There was no sign. There's no sign now. The shoemaker's children go barefoot.
First things first.
Okay.
Thank you for making these for me.
You're welcome.
And I apologize for taking so long to reach out. I knew when I left you after our meeting 10 years ago that I would be a customer one day. But things happened pretty fast in my world, and I just couldn't decide what to ask you to do, because there were multiple titles and things.
Sure.
But these are the things where we settled. This podcast, this idea of just talking about the world and all the trouble in it is called The Way I Heard It. And my foundation, which I was just really starting to take seriously when we met, has become a thing that, in my estimation, is now worthy of Neon and your specific
We
skill.
talked about it then, because I remember I set aside a couple of circles that I had left over and had your name on them for, a good 8 years or so before I chopped them up.
Yeah.
Which was ironically probably a few months before we reconnected. Yeah. It's like, damn
man.
it.
That's true. Hey, I just want to point out on that image right there, you're wearing the exact same shirt, you got the exact same necklace on, and you have 2 pair of glasses on your head in both.
Yeah.
Real life and back there. I guess that's your look, isn't it?
It's not a look per se. It's all about, it's a uniform. It's my workwear. It's all got a reason. But it's also true that because I wear the same clothes pretty much every day, and it's not the exact same shirt, but it's the same type of shirt.
No, man, that's the exact same
I'm
shirt.
easily...
That's the exact shirt. I think part of the reason Chuck is pointing this out, which is an excellent catch, by the way. My compliments.
Thank you.
I think it says a lot about our guest. But it also says, if I could bring this back to me for a moment.
Why not?
I own 4 shirts, maybe 5, and all of them were purloined from various shoots. It's one of the many things I think we share in common. Life is simpler with a uniform. I try and do that too, but the other thing is that things become sometimes uncomfortably real when they manifest as a sign. You don't have a sign for your own sign-making place.
Correct.
Okay.
Deliberately.
Well, that's it. I had a design in my head for the MicroWorks logo, but I hesitate for so long to pull the trigger, not for any other reason than I hesitate to make things real prematurely, sometimes ever. So if there's a question in all that, it's what's wrong with us?
I'll speculate that we're people who know what we want, but have doubts about the actual manifestation of that. And there's also that if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Thoreau gets all the credit for, ergo cogito, ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. But some people argue that the original utterance was ergo doubtitum. I doubt, therefore I am. Like, there's something foundational in skepticism. Mm-hmm. And I always think of that when I think of you. And by the way, not to blow too much sunshine too early, but that segment on Somebody's Got to Do It was the best example that I had in the whole run of the show. You were the best subject for it because you're a sign maker without a sign, and yet you've been in business 30 years making signs because you wear what appears to be the same shirt all of the time. Because, if I remember right, you were an English major with dreams of becoming an architect who walked away from all of that to start fabricating things in the backyard of what, your grandfather's ranch or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Because if you took any road at all, it was windy and circuitous. I left our first meeting thinking, this cat has taken the reverse commute at every possible turn. It's all that zigging and zagging has just brought you to, I think, a really interesting place. And to this day, I think that segment, the way it touched on art and commerce and advertising and transaction, everything that came down into the business of bending glass and running current through it, just struck me as just remarkably human and interesting.
Wow, I'm so glad we're having this meeting because this is putting things into perspective for me. at a point in my career where I kind of need to hear that, because there's, again, with doubt, still have doubt every day. And I did not plan to zig or zag. I just found maybe a certain allergy to
not
doing
zigging
it,
or zagging.
to doing it directly, often to my own chagrin, certainly my parents' chagrin, and I credit them for being so busy sort of falling apart as people that they were not in a position to stop me from going out the side exit.
Right.
That was just luck. They could have cracked the whip and it could have gone all differently.
Oh, sure. I
But-
mean, Sliding Doors
Yeah.
was a popular movie.
Yeah.
Because it's fun to look back and go, oh, man, this
Yeah.
instead of that, what would have happened?
Well, and we find ourselves looking back, my wife and I, and things are different than it was before. But you're right, and there's a reason for everything. I'm not just wandering around. Sometimes it seems that way, I think, from the outside. There's a reason I wear these clothes, and it's not just for branding purposes. It's because they suit the work I do, and I don't wear them every day because I want people to recognize me. I want them to realize that I work every day, pretty much. Saturdays and Sundays too. Maybe not all of it. And I know how to take a vacation. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, I'm still used to wearing these clothes, so I'm going to wear them.
I think that if I don't put some guardrails on this, we really will free associate for 2 hours. What
Easily.
I enjoyed easily. Maybe if we could just start with craft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that people think it means what you think it means. I know what I think you thought it meant 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But how has your thinking evolved with regard to this weird miasma of skill, intentionality, art, like all of it? If I remember right, the word craftsman was the term that you were most comfortable
Right, as
with.
opposed to artist.
Yes.
Yeah. If anything, it's sort of, I don't want to say hardened, because I'm still learning and we're still changing, but certainly craft is not only what I bring to the table, it's the table. It's what we build on every day, and it's breaking down as we're doing it, and it's a miasma, as you say, but it's also the thing that holds us up. We offer craftsmanship in a world that's increasingly void of it, which is good in a way, and it's also frightening in a way.
Like the signs that you made for us. Is that the product of craftsmanship? Is that not the product of artistry? How does it translate to the work as opposed to the identity of the person doing the work? If buying a car that suited your needs and fit your budget required you to test drive 250 different vehicles, when would you find the time to buy a car? If buying a home that suited your needs and fit your budget required you to visit 250 open houses, when would you find the time to buy a home? Happily, those situations are hypothetical, but this one is not. Hiring the right person for the right job requires the average employer to plow through no less than 250 individual resumes and conduct God only knows how many interviews, begging the obvious question, where will you find the time to hire? The answer, of course, is ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter has proven themselves 1,000,000 times over by helping countless employers get through the hiring process faster and more effectively than ever before. And now they have a new feature that instantly shows you the most interested, qualified candidates first. It's the difference between finding the right fit on the top of that enormous stack of resumes or at the bottom. Do what so many other business owners have already done. Post a job for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Rowe and watch what happens. You have nothing to lose except the time you've been wasting. ZipRecruiter.com/Rowe.
The smartest way to hire.
I'm buried in the work. I'm in there. I don't need to sign it. If you know my work, you're going to recognize that I've done it. But it's not about me. It's more about you, the client, the end user, feeling like it represents them. Especially in your case, because of the lifetime of your career of talking about work and what work means and what craftsmanship looks like versus things that aren't. And we're surrounded more than ever by things that aren't.
Yeah.
By digital, by vinyl, by plastic, by things that were produced and maybe still part of a marketing meeting. we make things by hand with the absolute intention that they look like they were made by hand. It's not artifice.
With materials that have some kind of, I don't know. I mean, there's something primal about glass.
Metal paint and glass.
Metal paint, right. Those things feel, maybe eternal is a bit much, but foundational in ways that plastic and bytes and bits and cloud and blockchain.
Right.
Right? Like there's something kind of attractive about those things. Obviously, they wouldn't exist so predominantly in the zeitgeist if it wasn't so. But there's a bargain, that we make. I think you're suspicious of that bargain vis-a-vis those materials.
It's a slippery slope. I used to say earlier in my career, I'd say no computers were harmed in the making of this sign. I can't say that anymore because a lot of times, and in the case of your signs, the information was sent to me via an email, which we then forwarded to an imaging company that was born in 1920 as a blueprint company. Most people don't even know what a blueprint is. And they're making a digital print at scale, and we use that we'll cut that out or we'll transfer it with a kind of glorified carbon paper to the aluminum and draw it. So to say we live without, computer imagery or bits and bytes would be wrong. Now I can't make that claim anymore.
Right.
And yet it's better than me. It's more accurate and faster than me using an overhead projector the way I did for 25 years.
So should the consumer care? And if so, to what degree? Like, I mean, I know you're riffing on no animals were harmed in the making of this movie.
Sure.
Okay, well, that's kind of important to me. I don't want to watch Dances with Wolves and assume that, that wolf was really shot. The movie itself preserves, a certain illusion, and it's there for me, and it was fun to consume. Your signs, no matter what the process is, still look like they could have been the product of the heyday of neon, which was what, 27, 28, something like that?
Yeah, we look at the golden age of neon in America anyway as being like mid-30s to, mid-50s, maybe late 50s. Let's say 1930 to 1960. Because I was a collector first, and I never worked for a sign company. So I came at it from a different angle. I wanted to make things that looked like the vintage signs I was collecting and restoring.
Why?
Because they seemed more real to me than the plastic boxes that had taken their place starting in the 1960s. And they provided joy, and they riveted your attention in a way that the plastic boxes do neither. And that hadn't changed. That's still true. It's more true now. We get hired, and I say we because it's not just me anymore. I've got a team. And that's necessary because of the amount of work and because I'm aging, I'm breaking down.
Second law of thermodynamics.
Second or third law. I've got
Entropy.
I've got
Entropy,
two
baby.
or three people, and behind me. And the good news is these are people who I've trained. I mean, they approached me. I didn't, pull them off the street, but trained to make things the way I want to and to see things the way I want to. And what they've seen, all of them, is how it has influenced the culture around us, at least in Austin, mostly, where most of my work is. So what I'm trying to get at is that it arrived by osmosis. I liked the thing. I bought the thing. I produced it as, folk art to hang on the wall, the vintage signs. Mm-hmm. And then that led to making signs that looked like that for people that didn't like what I had for sale. And of course, that took off and kind of took the place of the collecting. I'm still very much interested in the collecting. I still want to do a museum of signs, and not about the history of the companies, mom and pop who came up with this. That's important. I think that's an American exchange. Somebody wants to start a business and they hire a sign maker who's also in a business to make this expression for the people who are passing by.
Yeah.
That's about as basic a human interaction as you can get. I want it to be about design and kind of a yes or no thing. In other words, if I put your sign next to a Starbucks emblem, mm-hmm. vinyl on plastic, say to any audience, big audience, small audience, which do you like better? Never mind whether you like Mike Rowe Works coffee better than you like Starbucks coffee. Which thing do you like better? I'm pretty sure they're going to go with the neon.
If they don't, then we've lost.
We haven't lost yet.
Humanity.
That's where we start.
Yeah.
And that's when we start re-education if we can. I'll say, okay, you like Starbucks better. Tell me why. Try to cancel out the fact that you have to have one every day and you're addicted to it. Try to cancel out the fact that you're addicted to brand identity and you think brands are more important than individual craftsmanship. Let's just look at two round things together. If I go on 5 minutes and I'm not getting anywhere, I'll say, okay, I'm sorry, I've wasted your time, and go off to whatever void you came from. And next candidate, please. It shouldn't be judgmental, but I'm hoping if there is anything left of humanity, and I don't want to make it this big a deal, but it's, can we agree that if you've got two things and you like one better, why are we not making more of the better?
My friend Thomas Tull, who owns the Steelers and plays in a band that opens for the Rolling Stones.
That's a good resume.
And started Legendary Pictures and hired Chris Nolan to make Inception and The Dark Knight Rises. That guy. Mm-hmm. He sat here a month ago or so and said, fail fast works for me. If you're going to fail, you just said 5 minutes in, if I'm not getting anywhere. Now, a lot of people would equate that with quitting or a lack of perseverance, but the decision to move quickly is interesting. Chuck, sidebar, how many locations are there in the country for Starbucks? I'm curious, because to your earlier point...
That's less worldwide.
Okay, yeah, both. Now, that is what you call sui generis. It's one of a kind. There's only one MicroWorks. There's only one podcast called The Way I Heard It. At least I hope so. And so there's only one sign to reflect each of those. Stumble into Starbucks land, you're talking about thousands. Like, what would happen to the specialness of that?
I can tell you.
If there was a mechanism by which it could wind up on...
Tens of thousands. It's 16,800 to 17,200 Starbucks locations in the United States.
Then that's the question.
McDonald's, they don't say how many billions served. They just say billions and billions now. But they started out as a place in Downey, California with neon.
Okay, but they couldn't stay with neon because, I mean, obviously there's an economic reason, but my question has to do with what would happen to the specialness of the glass and just the fundamental stuff about it that you like if it were somehow able to be incorporated at scale. Would it become as banal as the plastic logos that you're evoking?
Quite possibly. And certainly there was a time when that was true. You have to remember that neon isn't magic, though for a long time I thought it was.
Magic how?
If you can put this gas into a vacuum tube and get power to it, it will light up. And it will do so without being consumed. And as long as you don't break down the glass, it will do it maybe till the end of time. Name something like that that's not in Harry Potter. It just doesn't exist. What it was when they got it and harnessed it and made it available to be used in signage, which it was perfectly adapted for, it almost immediately wiped light bulbs as a way of communicating in signage off the map. It was like the dinosaurs being wiped out by a cataclysm. It was just, and I hate to say this, superior technology. It was a technological advance. And it held sway for those, at least that 30-year period until plastic came along and almost knocked neon off. And ever since then, remember fiber optics? I do. In the 90s, they told us this is going to make neon obsolete. Well, it didn't. It didn't make anything obsolete. It's gone. Fluorescent tubes, which in the 60s, the advance of that and making cabinet signs almost knocked neon off the map. They're gone now, too. Now we've got LEDs. This is going to end it all. And maybe it will, but not without a fight.
American Giant didn't start off with a big, elaborate business plan. They started off with a mission, a really simple mission to build the best hoodie on planet Earth, right here in America. And they did it 15 years ago. Google American Giant and hoodie, and you'll see all the press. They made the best hoodie ever, and they're still doing it today. How? Well, here's what they don't do. They don't look for the cheapest labor or the thinnest fabric. They don't cut corners. They don't take shortcuts. They hire hardworking Americans. They source locally grown cotton, and they work in towns across the nation where they could build their factories and start competing with China. None of it was easy, but they did it. Then they went about the business of gently reminding people that when you buy a piece of clothing from American Giant, you're not just buying a sweatshirt or a t-shirt or another pair of jeans. You're investing in a local supply chain. You're supporting communities from the Carolinas to California. And you're getting a piece of clothing that won't merely survive the wash, it'll get better with age. Check out their high-quality staples, hoodies, tees, denim, they got it all. It's built to be worn year after year at american-giant.com/Mike. It's quality you can feel and a true American success story you can be proud to support. Use code Mike. Get 20% off your order at american-giant.com/Mike.
American Giant, American made, American Giant, American made.
In my industry, that's called the displacement theory, and probably in yours too. But in media, there was a thinking that radio would be the end of newspapers, and that movies would be the end of radio, and that TV would be the end of movies,
Right.
and that digital and so forth and so on. Of course, that doesn't really happen. More often than not, what it does is it forces its predecessor to adapt in some way, unless it doesn't. 8-tracks. Actually, you know what? CDs destroyed 8-tracks and cassettes, but MP3s destroyed CDs. Sometimes the displacement theory is true.
And now vinyl's back, though.
And then it comes back.
Yeah.
That's the magic in my mind. It's like that's the thing you can't, at least with this, you can reduce it to its various component parts and wax nostalgic about it.
That's
but
the
with
danger.
people,
Yeah.
up here it's like we get to decide. We get to assign value. We get to appreciate that or not. And back to the speed thing, how much time do you really have to get my attention?
In my world, 2 to 3 seconds.
Okay.
It used to be 5. Now, we might spend 2-3 months building something for that blip. Not only is there more stuff, and again, we're not looking at the world of the 1940s where you would see dizzying amounts of layering of neon giant signs in cities or on highways, both sides, vying for your attention. I'd love to go back and see it. I might not find it as attractive as I think I would. Now, with everybody's looking at their screen while they're driving. I've done it.
Makes it exciting.
You really have to think hard about what you're going to say and how you're going to say it. My job in sidewalk or street culture, which is mostly where I work, putting stuff on buildings to try to get your attention to either immediately go into that place because I've formed a good feeling for you about it, or to put it in the back of your mind like a fish hook that makes you want to go back later. Well, I can't do it now, but I'm going to go back to that place because it looks interesting, or I'm going to find out about it on my phone, on my screen.
Do you reckon these are conscious associations? Like you said, it formed a good impression in my mind. Do I know? Do I know that in 2 seconds as the consumer, or am I just, is it like the medulla oblongata? Is it that,
I think there's 2 levels, and I feel this as a consumer of culture myself. Like when I walk through a flea market, which I like to do a lot. When I was an antique dealer, I was working booth to booth, but now I don't do that anymore. I'm just going through looking for something that calls to me. That doesn't mean I'm going to buy it. But if it keeps calling me after I walk past it, makes me come back, it's the same exchange. I'm looking for something. I want to feel that pull. It makes me happy to find something that talks to my inner self through my outer eyes.
Give me an example of something that you saw, like when you put yourself into that fugue state, which I assume means I'm open to it. I'm not affirmatively looking for a thing, but I'm open to the thing jumping off the wall and making me go. Like, what's...
Well, when I was an antique dealer, I had certain categories that I looked for, so it was almost like looking for that shape. When I was a kid at the ranch, my dad was teaching me to hunt deer, and he would say, what you're looking for is the thing that sticks out. And I said, I don't understand. He says, something that looks out of place. He says, light will fall on the, and this makes my father sound like he was a savant, and maybe in this he was. Light will fall on the tine of an antler differently than it will on a tree trunk or leaves. What you're doing is just going through, waiting for something that looks out of place. Take that forward if I'm walking through a flea market in Paris.
Paris, Texas, or Paris, France?
Paris, France.
Okay.
Also in America still. Just not as much because I'm not finding that many things in America that interest me right now. And there's more to that, of course, than maybe should be said. If something jumps out at me, just that light on the tine of an antler, and I'll approach, I'm going to go to the signal and look at it and take it in. I may move on, but as I am moving away, possibly over days even, I'll think, that thing is still caught in my head. I should go back. And that's the closest thing to the shopping experience I still have, because obviously I buy clothes by just buying 3 at a time, and then they wear out, and I've got an end game for that now.
Right.
And I'll go get 3 more.
That's the utter predictability and the certainty of your wardrobe is in stark contrast to the passive-aggressive way you're looking for a thing to hook you.
I have other clothes that are not this uniform, and when I'm not
Sure.
when I'm not working, so example at the flea market, this was just at Christmas. We were there at 7 a.m. The light is just coming in. This was at Port de Vent in France, ancient street market where they just close the street down and vendors are set up on the sidewalk. There's snow on most of the tables. And we're walking along, and I see this flash of hot pink with gold braid. It's a vest laid down on a table with a 3-page dissertation on what it is. It's in French, so I can't read it, but I can tell that it says it's from Albania and it's a woman's vest. Stood out in the snow? Maybe. I like vests. I kind of collect vests. I've got Native American beaded vests and Mexican mariachi style vests, and these are things I wear when I'm not wearing what you generally see me wearing, and partly just to show that there's this other side of me that isn't just work. I looked at this thing, and now I've learned, especially if I have trouble finding my way back, I'll take a picture with my cell phone. And I got almost to the end and thought, that's the one thing that is caught in my head, and I'm going to go back and see if I can get it. And I had no idea what it was going to cost, and I bought it. And now I've got it with a friend of mine who's a tailor, and she's going to restore it. It's, 100 years old or more, and it's starting to fall apart, but I want to wear it. I don't want to just hang it on the wall. I don't want to just put it in the closet. I want to wear it. And so it could have just as easily been a painting. It could have just as easily been a pair of cowboy boots or a neon sign or any of the things I've been known to collect over the years. But that's how I select. And I'm hoping that people moving through the world, even if they're in the back of an Uber looking at their phone, if they glance up for 1 minute, 1 second, and I've put something there that's pink and gold shining in the snow of what is passing by them, and they come back, then I've done my job. Now, what happens when they go in that store is up to the store owner.
Now, see, that whole English degree just paid off for you.
It was a way to write a shorter essay, if you will.
Sure.
I am hopelessly verbose, as we know. And so to be able to compact it into one picture with words.
What a fun challenge.
Little movie. Yeah. No, it's good to be limited in my case.
There's a great line in The Matrix when Morpheus is trying to explain to Neo what the Matrix is. And before you can get your head around that, you have to acknowledge the thing you're talking about, the awareness or suspicion that it might exist. The light on the tine might exist if you're open to the possibility that it would present itself. The vest in the street market.
If you even believe tines are out there to be seen.
Right. But the way Morpheus, he says it's there, you've always known it, like a splinter in your mind.
Yeah. Good.
It's so good. There are things that I've always doubted and always suspected that I can't prove, but they're there. And this whole notion of living, I think, in a lot of ways is a search. The shrinks call it a confirmation bias, but seeing a thing glint in a way. I just think that's...
And does that mean it's there? I mean, this is the foundation of faith, and whole religions
everything
are built upon that. And I think people like us who are creative and observers and creators of things that sort of bridge observation to reality end up creating our own faiths. And I'll make jokes about, well, it's against my religion to leave a penny on the sidewalk. I mean, that's as much part of my religion, a tiny expression of that. Take the thing that you see. What right have you to leave it there?
What a conscious choice to walk past a thing of any value.
Yeah, what are you saying about yourself and about the world and about the opportunity that's been given to you, this tiny little gift?
Because it comes down to stakes. The world's full of people who will walk past a penny. Will they walk past a quarter? Sure. $1? Less. A 5? Few. A 20? No one. Who's going to walk past a $20 bill?
Where's the bottom of your investment structure?
Right. Where's the bottom of your investment structure?
I haven't found it. I don't want to find it. I don't want to do everything. I want to select. I want to have a selection. I've preset myself to pick up the pennies, because I think that I should. And I'll pick up all kinds of things. I'm like a crow that way. Mm-hmm. If I see a discarded earring on the sidewalk, I'll pick it up because I found a ring on the sidewalk at a flea market and gave it to my wife, and it fit her, and she wears it every day. Is it a wedding ring? No. Does it have any more significance than the fact that I found it? Does it need more? What the hell? That was a thing. The bottom should only be in your own judgment, in your own belief, in your own aesthetics. Beauty is around you all the time. Let it find you.
That's American Beauty. That movie. Little essence right
there.
there.
Sure, the bag dancing in the updraft.
Yes.
Mesmerizing.
Right.
How did they get that shot?
I don't know.
How long did it take them to get it?
I don't know, but there's the feather in Forrest Gump.
Right? This is storytelling.
Yeah.
This is storytelling for every individual moving through the world. And I was talking with friends about this last night. I have lived a good story. I think I was born to seek stories. I was attracted to stories. I was surrounded by people who were storytellers. And I'm hoping that I am associated with other people who are living good stories and raising children who, God love them, are going to be addicted to stories and will hopefully live a good story.
How's your daughter?
My daughter's good. My son's good. They're 20 now, so, they're both in college, which is kind of wild.
Was your daughter, if I recall, blind, legally blind?
Legally blind, absolutely. Legally blind, learning disabled, and a little autistic. That we didn't know at the time that you and I met, but that diagnosis came in as she moved through the system, and caregivers started noticing things.
Yeah,
she's amazing. She's one of a kind.
Sui generis.
Yes, that's right. And it's a different situation, and it's another way to introduce that doubt. Every time I sound certain about what you can see and how you can apprehend it, and it's like, well, what about how Zelda sees and how she apprehends, and what does apprehend even mean? And yet she's moving through the world, and we're doing our best to help her, and she's helping us too, helping us see a different way.
Well, her story is part of your story.
And same for my son, who's deeply dyslexic, dysgraphic, dyscalculic, which basically means he can't read, write, or do math, or even write numbers very well. And yet he's in art school. And of course, I'm deeply jealous. It's like, I didn't get to go to art school. Like every parent, I'm like forcing them to do the thing, or did I force him, or did he choose it? I can't tell. And he's struggling, but he's also loving it at the same time, and that's what you want.
Does he pick up pennies?
That's a good question. I may not have trained him well enough. Doubt rises momentarily. Right. I hope so. Or I hope he finds a way to express his own religion his own way. I pick up pennies.
You mentioned crows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fascinated by that bird. I don't understand the intelligence. I don't understand where it ends with the crow. When I was a boy, we had a lot of woods behind our house, and a bunch of crows, what do they call them? A murder. A murder of crows.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, they
in
ganged
the
up.
1870s, they killed a man.
Right, during the Great Masturbation Scare.
That's why they've been banished from getting smarter because,
We had a cat, and they attacked the cat. They descended on the cat, and I broke it up, but the cat was hurt, and I was angry with the crow. I was very angry, the way a 12-year-old righteous boy would be.
Sure.
I took my .22 long rifle, and I walked back into the woods, and I
murdered some crows.
Well, I took a shot at one, and they flew off. And then I walked a little further, and they had lighted again in another tree, and I took a shot at another one. Hit it, didn't kill it. They all flew off. And I walked away, I would walk back into this woods every day. This was kind of my little church as a boy. Mm-hmm. The next day I walked back there again, because our cat was pretty jacked up, and I had my rifle with me, and the crows saw me and immediately flew away. Later that week, same thing. Back there, they see me, they fly away. So eventually I get off my revenge kick, cat's fine, and I go for a walk, and I take the stick that I would always carry with me, not the rifle.
They knew the difference.
They didn't fly away. Mm-hmm. They sat there in the tree, Evan, and they looked at me, and they looked at that stick. I'm like, I held up the stick and waved it at them, mm-hmm. and they just, made crow sounds. And I pointed the stick at them. Didn't fly away.
Not fooled.
How in the hell can a crow discern a .22 from a stick at 30 yards?
And why just crows? Why not another bird of equal size, brain capacity, eyes?
Raven.
Magpie.
Seagull.
Yeah. Seagulls are smart, but they're not smart enough to use tools yet that I know of.
I got a seagull story for you too, but go ahead, say something unforgettable and prescient about the crow's ability to discern.
I know nothing about crows. I have not your murderous knowledge of crows, or your attempted murderous knowledge of crows.
Well, then let me throw the quick seagull metaphor out there as well, and you can just ruminate on it. That same year, I worked on a fish boat for my uncle. We were catching menhaden.
This is off the coast of Maryland, or
off the coast of Virginia.
Okay,
still in the Chesapeake. Mm-hmm. Industrial fish, can't eat it, but they would catch these things by the thousands and smash them, and the oil that came out of them was really valuable in all kinds of industrial applications. They used the bones in jewelry, right? It was just an industrial fish, and God, the boat stunk. And my cousin and I, in between hauls, would go up onto the roof. And the first time he took me up there on the roof of the wheelhouse, he said, we got to get some bait. He had a fishing rod, and he took off the hook, and he tied a chicken bone to it. And the seagulls, of course, follow the boat. And he cast up
into the air,
and the seagull grabs it.
Right.
And he reels it in.
It won't let go.
It won't let go. And it gets this far away, and he pulls a club out of the back of his belt and knocks the thing unconscious, and then cuts it up into little pieces and throws it in a bucket.
Yeah.
All his friends are watching. Ties off the chicken bone, casts it up, boom. Another grabs it, you reel it in.
Right. Same way you catch crabs.
Right.
Same way you catch raccoons.
Right. But to your point,
they don't learn.
Crow wouldn't fall for that. Maybe once, if it was hungry, and all the buddies would be like, that lunatic's, he's bad. Don't grab the chicken. Seagulls don't.
Well, what article of selection gave us the big brains of all the animals? Why did we get to be the crows of
the
apes?
Yeah.
How has that worked out for us? And we're pretty murderous. All these kind of mystical things, like talking about the neon, the sort of magic of it. I had this weird thought last night that, we read, at least as Americans, left to right. And most people are right-handed. The world turns left to right. Is it simply we're all mostly based on a rotational pull? There's some variation. My aunt was left-handed. Aaron Flynn, our sign painter, is left-handed. Elise Klein, happy birthday, Elise, who does most of my fabrications right-handed. I'm right-handed. We welcome variation, but still, is there something to that? Nobody ever asked, why are we right-handed? Nobody ever asked me why we read left to right. Asians, of course, can read up and down and stuff. And, of course, some signs read up and down. But generally, I'm making things that read left to right. Is that just a predisposition of gravitational pull?
Chuck, what percentage of H. sapien is left-handed. Maybe, it's kind of like the displacement theory. By and large, it's just a theory. But every now and then a thing really is displaced, making it impossible to paint with too broad a brush. Well, not impossible, but just dangerous.
Don't we prefer to not paint with too broad a brush?
We love to paint with a broad brush. As a society, we love to tell kids.
I agree, but the whole point of what we were talking about before is making the thing that stands out from the broad brush.
Absolutely.
That's what I do for a living, is try to be the left-handed, the sinistre.
But you would have no basis for your business thesis if the rules weren't already in place and the expectations for right-handedness didn't already exist.
If the forest didn't exist, the tine can't stand out in the light.
That's right. That's right. Or if you're out there at night, your whole metaphor craps the bed.
For the time, but I'm making electric signs. Night is my favorite. I got you now. The forest is gone, man. It's all times when I'm working the street.
Do you still have the genie in the back of the truck?
It's not in the back of the truck anymore.
You still have the truck?
I still have, of course, I still have everything. It's just, I took it out of the back of the truck when I had to leave that building. Split it, knowing that I was going to restore it someday, but I still haven't gotten around to it, and it's a decade later.
Percentage, Chuck?
10 to 12%.
Interesting.
More than I thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody knows multiple left-handed people watch Major League Baseball. I'll bet you the percentage of pitchers that are left-handed is higher
right.
than the aggregate.
Because that's a desired feature.
So what do you make of this? I throw darts right-handed. I deal cards left-handed.
Why?
I shoot pool right-handed. I kick left-footed.
So you're semi-ambidextrous.
I think I'm equally incompetent with both sides.
You're incompetent ambidextrous.
I mean, I did hurt my right arm when I was a kid. I was attacked by crows. I don't know if I mentioned this, but
why you carry a rifle everywhere you go now?
But no, I
disguised as a cane, a stick.
I would struggle to deal cards right-handed. And I play cards a lot. I don't know what that means or says.
Can you take that apart? I mean, can you examine yourself and say, is it because I'm saving my right hand for something else, or
And just like that, we're back to the great masturbation scare.
See, I did try to set that up for you, but notice how I left it to you.
Thank you.
To close it.
It's my show.
Yeah, it is your show.
All right, there we are 10 years ago. There's the genie in the back of that old jalopy. There's my crew. Good grief. Chris Jones running audio.
And we drove all over Austin and several counties like that.
Who was the client, the genie client?
Well, me. That was one I bought for the collection. Genie Car Wash now doesn't exist anymore. They're all down. That was the last one that had never been altered. So it was of the three that were in Austin, and they had some in Waco too, I think. That one had never, ever been repainted or anything, and that made it more valuable to me. That is much larger than I like to acquire, but I couldn't pass it up. And so once we got in the truck, I was kind of stuck there for a while trying to figure out where to go with it.
You know what just struck me? Pause right there for a second, Chuck. Right there. Actually, back up. Not right there.
Let's hold it there.
That's what you get.
Let's talk about this genie.
I want to talk about my shirt. It's Herb's Meats. I didn't even
remember.
Notice on the day. Right there.
There it is, yeah.
That's a guy who sells meat. There's his logo. As a sign guy, you should appreciate that. I mean,
Well, and it shows the different cuts. And then later that day, we went to a barbecue place, remember?
Yes.
And you were wearing the competition's...
I was wearing the actual signage embodiment of the creature we were eating.
Right. You were also an outside agitator walking into somebody else's establishment.
With the competition.
Did we know we were going to go to the barbecue place?
No.
I don't think so.
No, we did not.
Yeah.
We had no idea.
Yeah.
And I also didn't know, in those days, I was convinced that the best moments would come when the crew wasn't around. Now, I didn't have to worry about that with you because you're impervious, like utterly, aggressively indifferent to cameras. You don't care. But most people do. So we're driving, and I was like, guys, it's really going to be important to rig this piece of crap truck. I want to be able to talk to this guy as we're driving. Because I've learned over the years, when people are driving or doing something, working in their element, that was Dirty Jobs 101. That's when you'll get to know them. That's when they'll tell you things. So we're cruising around here, and I don't know how we got to it, but there was a fire. in your life.
Correct.
And you had a collection, was it cowboy boots?
Cowboy boots. Plus everything else I own, but yeah.
As an antique collector, as somebody who's like going through the world in a fugue state, like a splinter in your mind, looking for things that speak to you, and then collecting all of these things, and then losing all of these things. And we didn't have time to really, like, you just told me the story in the course of driving to eat some barbecue. You know, when I was looking at the footage and trying to figure out, man, this is so heavy and this is so interesting. And look at us, like squatting there like a couple of animals. What are we doing? There's no place to sit.
It was a better shot from the squat.
That should have been a stand up, but it was a squat up.
It was a squat down.
Yeah.
What's it like to lose every damn thing?
It's, as somebody who has a very, we asked earlier, what's the bottom of my collective impulse, and we haven't found it. I didn't lose it. It got heavily altered, but of course I went into the burned out building and took everything of mine out, and then asked my neighbors if they weren't going to do the same for their building. Would they mind if I went in and got that? Because I see value in some things that other people don't. Vintage cowboy boots or neon signs were things that were just ubiquitous and taken for granted. At the time, thought I was the only person who saw their inherent value as, American folk art. That proved prescient on my part. It turned out there was a market for that, and I made money in those markets. I haven't done so well with, burnt offerings and baked goods, but that's what I had for a while. And I ended up selling the collection of cowboy boots. I kept collecting and sold the burnt ones with the unburnt ones.
How many did you have?
By the end, I had 750. At the time of the fire, I probably had 400, 500.
Why? Why cowboy boots?
I went out on the road. I lived in San Francisco, and I had purchased a Toyota Land Cruiser and rigged it to where I could live in it. And was just going to go out on vacation, but I went out and just stayed out. At the end of 2 years, I'd really become an antique dealer and collector, and had thought that I was going to collect like Navajo rugs and Navajo jewelry, something I grew up with and liked. Well, there wasn't any left. A generation of hippies 10 years before me had cleaned all that out. But cowboy boots were just lying out there everywhere. This is in the early to mid 80s. And I thought, oh my God, of course, I grew up with cowboy boots. And started really seeing the whole history of them, handmade versus factory made, and seeing the craft, the way that the design was mostly as a tool. It was designed to do a certain function. And then the decor that gets added to it was simply to be an expression of both the maker and the wearer. Well, that's when you cross into folk art. You can make a folk art coffee cup. The design is to hold coffee and to get it into your system. But making it something more than just the design is where you cross over into craft. Again, the art question is a little tricky. So I started collecting these things because I could. They were everywhere. They were cheap. And then I discovered there was a market for them in Los Angeles, and I became a dealer to finance my habit. My habit was the collecting. If you do enough collecting, you become a dealer, because that's just the way it is. That's how you make enough money to keep going. And then that transferred after the fire to neon signs. I had started collecting neon signs. I had a storefront in Buda, Texas. I had my collection of boots in there. I was getting some fame for that, working on movies and stuff. But then it all burned down, and the signs were out back, and they weren't harmed. So that's what I was left with after the Viking funeral for that period of being a well-known, in a world that didn't care, collector of cowboy boots. I became a lesser-known, later well-known collector of neon signs, and it also transitioned me into, I never learned to make boots, never wanted to, but I did learn to make signs by simply studying the way they were done and replicating it in my crude manner. So that fire was everything to me, Mike, because I was locked into a situation. I had gotten myself painted into a corner with this whole cowboy boot collecting thing. It was everything I did. The signs were kind of a sidebar, and suddenly it's gone. There was no way I was walking out of that corner by myself. I needed an act of
Machine
cosmos.
of the gods.
That's
You
right.
Deus
Deus
machina.
Machina. I love how much Latin is making it into this.
Hey, e pluribus unum,
That was low-hanging fruit right there.
State of the Union address from Mike Rowe. How is the economy, Mike?
Oh, just
Stock market's at an all-time high. We're doing great.
We're doing great. Form over function?
Form follows function, but once you've achieved that, then you've still got form and you've still got some room. And it's in that room is where expression takes over. And expression, after all, is the hook.
But can you have expression absent function? I mean, of course you can. That's
Sure.
what an art gallery is. But
No, the function of art is to decorate your life so you don't just have blank walls.
okay, but folk art and sort of like the practicality of a cowboy boot.
Folk art is a loaded phrase. It's the two words
you
don't
used it,
match up. I
not
did
me.
use it. Yeah, and so it has doubt in it. Folk art is like, is it art? Is it folk? Is it both? Is it neither?
Well, I mean, the cowboy boot was clearly designed for a utilitarian purpose.
Absolutely.
Right? This is the thing you want on your feet if you're spending the day in the saddle.
Correct.
Then, because we're humans, we look at the thing and go, would it kill you to snazz it up a little bit? Maybe
Right.
you want to say
Why didn't you wear a white T-shirt instead of a mauve T-shirt that has Herb's Market
Right.
and a picture of a pig on it?
Yeah. Why do you wear the same shirt every day for a decade? More or less, right?
Because I'm doing the expression elsewhere.
But you're trying to express yourself within a really narrow lane of faded denim, 2 sunglasses, long. It's very predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy boots. Once you start messing with them, I mean, you couldn't collect them if they all look the same.
I wouldn't collect them if they're all the same. You certainly
Right.
could, but it's not a good idea. Yeah.
Right. When I say form over function, it just seems like you're living the epitome of that, because a sign has such a clear function, but the form is unlimited. And apparently so too is a cowboy boot. And finally, the example you used, look at these ridiculous coffee mugs. That thing is delivering the caffeine into your system as advertised. Incredibly, my face is on it. Now, I don't know how you feel about drinking out of my head, but I'm flattered.
We'll see how the results turn out later. Yeah.
That's the old logo of this podcast on a coffee mug.
I thought you were still using this. Anyway, keep going.
No, I'm using the one you made over your left shoulder.
We could have done a portrait of you above it.
This is probably why I didn't call you 5 years ago.
Just
It's
so
too
could we
weird
see
to
what
say.
the end game was going to
Yeah,
be.
Evan, can you please make
Giant neon version of Mike's head. No words.
And look at my
No
mug.
words.
Look at it. My mug says "really famous," not because I think I am. I don't even know where this came from.
It's
Chuck.
aspirational.
That's a podcast that you've been on a couple of times.
This is somebody else's podcast.
That's right. Yeah.
Can you unpack?
You just made $20,000.
Listen to this. I'm drinking out of a mug with somebody else's podcast logo on it, and their podcast is called "Really Famous," apparently.
That's right.
Which is why I was a guest, obviously. You here, not quite an artist, but a craftsman. You could have selected any mug, or maybe Chuck put that in your hand. Chuck, did you give him the micro mug?
I'm not
Yes.
throwing you under the bus here, Chuck.
No,
but
you're not. It's all good. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I was trying to find one that wasn't somebody else's logo.
Because as the producer of this podcast, it pleases you to see the logo of this podcast in the shot.
Oh, for God's sakes. We've got neon signs that we have in the shot.
I know.
That are, which you're trying to send a message, and it's a message of love. It isn't just relentless marketing, because we do it differently, albeit this mug.
But what am I doing subconsciously? I'm trying to take the piss out of the shameless pluggery that he's determined to do by putting somebody else's logo on a mug, apparently, and drinking from it.
Kara Robinson, that's her name.
Kara, right. She's a lovely woman.
Yep.
Dozens of listeners.
Oh,
No, she's sweet.
that's terrible.
No, we had a great conversation. She made it very
She's
personal,
good. She's
too.
had a lot of really famous people on her
She
podcast.
made it
too.
very. She asked me questions like I wouldn't even ask Evan. But I mean, good for her. Anyway, I got a mug out of it. Point is, you're saying you lose everything, and it's a blessing.
I have an ability to rationalize almost anything. And so maybe that's all this was. But I did find, one door closes, another one opens. It certainly worked out that way. And also, how are you going to cope with trauma unless you find a way to deal with it? You can't just say, oh, well, that happened. You've got to be able to rationalize it to yourself and to your world. And people would come up to me and say, oh, my God, are you okay? It's like, yeah, I didn't catch fire.
Yeah.
And let's remember that. I didn't catch fire. I remember at the time, a friend of mine, actually the mother of close friends of mine, wrote me a note that just said, Evan, be a phoenix.
rise from the ashes.
Yeah, partly maybe because she made that invocation. I did become that. And so I don't recommend this for anybody, the Viking funeral as I called it. But if you must do something like that, and if you're incapable of doing it yourself, that can be helpful. I'm not saying everybody should get a divorce, everybody should quit their job, everybody should walk into the ocean naked. But if you have aspirations to do something and you're stuck, try imagining what it would be like if you weren't stuck, and what it would be, how you would feel if you lost everything. And it turned out kind of to work for me. Do I regret it? Do I wish it hadn't happened? I want both, I want the effect without having the loss, but that wasn't the deal.
Yeah, you want the form and the function.
Yeah, I had to spend the penny I found on the street.
There you go. And look, in the same way, the primal nature of the tools of your trade are undeniable. Like the gas, what is it, argon?
Argon and neon, yeah.
Argon, neon.
These are all argon.
The paint, the glass itself, and of course the fire. I mean, what's more primal than fire? Robert Frost, right?
We lived without fire. We just didn't live as well.
I mean, did we?
I don't know.
Did we really live without fire?
Apes live without fire.
Well, that's not us necessarily.
Yeah,
A version of us.
Wasn't there a time when it was us? When does the switch?
When does a seagull become a crow? When do you learn to let go of the chicken leg to not get your brains bashed in? When do you learn to discern?
There are plenty of people out there who haven't learned that, and our job is to fix that.
Some say the world will end in fire, others in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if I had to perish twice, I think I've seen enough of hate to know that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Yeah, one of my favorites. But that
I thought it was going to be slouching towards Bethlehem for a minute, but
what rough beast has hour come round at last,
slouches towards Bethlehem to be born.
Look at you. That's Yeats.
Folks, if you're just joining us here on English Major's Rebuttal.
Do you remember he wrote something called Crazy Jane Talks to the Bishop?
I don't remember how it goes. But
Was
yes,
the bishop a metaphor by any chance?
Bringing us back to the
the
great
angry,
masturbation scare?
The angry bishop, yes.
No, the line that stuck with me
good
was
we stay on point.
A woman can be proud and stiff when on love intent, but love has pitched his mansion in the place of excrement. For nothing can be whole or soul that has not been rent.
Not been rent?
Rent as in torn asunder.
But it's a double entendre, though, too.
Yates fathered a child when he was 90 or 89. That's poetry.
That's Mick Jagger.
That's eternal.
Yeah, the desire to do that keeps going.
He graduated, or I think he dropped out of the London School of Economics.
Jagger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but learned enough there to, get smart about finances.
Well, have you gotten smart about marketing? Like your own thing?
No.
I mean, you're in the advertising business.
Absolutely.
But you can't bring yourself to advertise.
I don't want to advertise. It's a trick. Think about this. I could put Why is that funny? I haven't even given you the punchline
thirsty.
yet.
I've got whiskey all over the place here.
Okay, well,
you just make
now
me,
we're talking.
It's like 10:30 in the morning, and that really sends a message. That's the seagull.
If we're going to do this, I need to go to the bathroom. If we're gonna...
No, we're not going to do this.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'm not going to the bathroom.
No, you
Well,
can't.
you go.
I can't, really?
You can if you want
You
to.
can if
I
you
need
want
to.
Well, you can go ahead.
I'll just stand up and do it here and keep talking.
You could do that too. I got the Stadium Pal on. I've gone twice.
We can
since
edit
started.
this, right?
No, we're not editing it, but we'll wait. Go to the bathroom. It's right there.
Good, I'm going.
As Evan takes care of business, I'll just reflect, Chuck. You could probably fill a book with the stuff we don't agree on,
Yes.
but as a soul walking the planet, there is just no arguing the fact that the Earth is more interesting with this cat
With
on it.
Evan in it, yeah.
Yeah, it really is, man. I was really blown away 10 years ago after that day. Yeah, I remember it was hot.
We wrote a song.
Yes. Oh, God, we got to get to that, too. Yeah, my lawyers will be in touch. Or yours.
They
or
were.
something. Yeah, I know. No, it was hot outside, And then we walked into his pit of despair, and it was actually hotter inside. And he had the fans on, and we had to turn them off for like fucking audio or something.
Yeah.
So we just...
I'm amazed I had fans.
How'd it go in there, by the way?
About the same as always, yeah.
Sound and fury, signifying nothing?
Really. I mean,
you weren't in there long, so that says something good.
well, it's because it's a tale told by an idiot.
It
doesn't take long.
There we go. That's
It's,
good.
we're playing table tennis here. We were talking about
Yeah.
why I don't advertise.
Yes.
I like to think I'm a connoisseur of irony. I don't necessarily create irony, but I appreciate it when it comes to me, and I'm looking out for it, just like I'm looking out for that tine in the world that will stick out and stick in my head. There was some reluctance on my part to actually put up a sign that said, yeah, I'm here, hire me. But I did. I had an office starting in 1995, and I put the Neon Jungle on it. It was handcrafted out of old muffler pipe, and people would come in through the door. Very few of them were the people I wanted to meet. And as soon as I could, within a year, I got a studio I could build in, the one you went to.
Mm-hmm.
I started spending more time there and just had the door locked. I had a fax machine. That's how long ago it was. And I would get faxes every day from people saying, well, and I was in the phone book. I was doing everything you're supposed to do. Hey, I'm out here. I was listed with the Texas Film Commission.
Mm-hmm.
And what you get is people sending you the prior version of an Autobot thing saying, we are soliciting bids for signs like this. We're contacting everybody in town.
Yeah.
And we want to, whoever gives us the lowest number, that's who we're going with. I don't want to be part of that. And I'm not the guy that's going to give you what you want. I'm not the right tool for that job. You know, the first time I made a neon sign that was actually out in the public, could be seen outdoors, that I designed myself, was in December of '94. Somebody within the first month saw that sign, liked it, went inside to the shopkeeper and said, who did your sign? And they told him, did you like them? And they said, yeah, we do. And he said, give me their number. I'm going to call them. And that became the model of marketing. If I do a good job, somebody that wants that will see it and they will ask you. If they've gone to the trouble to stop the car, go inside, ask, I've got them. They already like my work. They already want this kind of thing. I've eliminated the fax machine. I've eliminated the advertising. You paid me to do the advertising.
Yeah, I did.
We put this.
I was happy to.
Yeah, I haven't updated that website since 2006.
Welcome to the Neon Jungle. Take a look at the vintage and custom signs for sale. There are some good ones. Thanks for stopping by. At least you went with an exclamation point.
I didn't write
there.
any of that. No. My friend Matt Linall wrote that. The only part of that you need to see is call Evan Voyles 512. It's better call Saul.
Yeah.
That's the only part. You can look at the rest of it, and if you like it, great. But I'm kind of more interested in, what did you see of mine? How'd you find me? What did you see you like? And that gives me a window into what you like, what you want.
Is it as simple as, look, the work speaks for itself, and it has to speak first before I do. If I can't get you there, then that means I have to sell you, and I don't want to do
And
that.
I have to work, and that's not my game, is selling me.
Well, here, let
my
me
game
do it.
is selling other people.
TheNeonJungle.com.
Good.
To TheNeonJungle.com. You have pictures here and stuff. Even though it's old, it's still got your phone number on it. And he made these great signs that are right here for us. And he's made 1 million signs, maybe not 1 million, slightly less than 1 million over the course of his lifetime. Was reasonably easy to deal with. A lot of fun to talk to, as you can imagine. So, yeah, if you need a sign, call Evan. He'll make you a one-of-a-kind.
Sui
and
generous.
it's gorgeous. Sui generous.
Yeah.
I like how y'all's cadences have now, after all these years, pretty well matched up, and you could
Pretty much.
you could be AI programs for each other.
Well, the other reason that I loved the segment is that I think we really wrote to this, certainly in the recut anyway. But I make my living in advertising. Really,
That's how the show started. Yeah, talking about all the
QVC.
clips. I was in it.
You were in it, yeah.
One of the ads we did together.
my own dysfunction with my industry has to do with the artists in it who see themselves as artists, or maybe craftsmen, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but whoever they are, they draw a pretty bright line between what they'll say in the context of a commercial and what they'll permit in the context of, say, an integration into a show.
What do you mean by that?
Okay. Bill Peterson, famous actor. You'd know him if you saw him, if the name doesn't ring a bell. He was at the height of his popularity, and this was in, I think, the early aughts. And he walked off the set. He's having a scene, and an SUV pulls up in the script to pick him up. It's his driver, and he's going to get in the car. Bill noticed the DP tilt down a little bit to make sure the logo of the SUV was in the frame.
Product placement.
That's right. Product placement. Now, Bill drew a line there, right? He was like, nope, I'm not
party to this.
I'm not party to this. I'm not going to get into this vehicle. This is an advertisement. And there's a difference between an advertisement and the art that I was right in the midst of creating. I understand.
Forgetting entirely what television is founded upon, but yeah.
Correct. So if you're in my line of work or yours, and I think this is the thing we really have in common, we get to draw the line wherever we want. This podcast is free. No one subscribes to it. There's no paywall. There's no Patreon. I've never asked anybody who watches any of my crap for money, but I do ask the advertisers for it, and I don't draw the line between the conversation we're having right now and the ad that is destined to interrupt us any moment now. Because you can't have one without the other.
Right.
That is the form and the function.
Absolutely.
That's the deal, dude. That's the deal. You must be this tall to get on this ride. And Bill pissed me off when he did that because he was like, nope, I want to take the ride, but I want to distance myself from the parts of it.
He gets to be holier than everybody else he works with. And of course, I didn't see this, but I think we're in a unique position to talk about this and talk about where the line is and how we feel about it and have a discussion about a thing that everyone on earth is engaged in unless they're hiding in a cave. And believe me, there's days when I want to be hiding in the cave, but I'm not. To the extent that there is beauty in the street, beauty on the screen, beauty in these kind of conversations, then let's let that flourish and let's let it go where it's going to go.
You have to survive, you must be in on the joke. You must be excellent at what you do, and you must take your clients seriously, but you must also understand there's a farcical reality to what all of this is. I write unauthorized jingles for the sponsors of this podcast. Like, I don't ask them. Like, ZipRecruiter is a sponsor. M-Dry. I mean, we go down the list, NetSuite.
But isn't that why they hire you? Is because they know you can do that?
No, they hire me because hundreds of thousands of people listen to this thing.
Right.
And they
just the ratings, just the numbers.
They like me.
Yeah.
And they like that, what that sign stands for, and they want to. They like the association.
They're buying into the brand, and part of the brand is you writing unauthorized jingles.
No, that's never. Well, maybe now.
It's a value add.
It's a value add.
That'd be what I'd want.
Well, look, if I ask them, if I say, okay, this is what you pay to advertise on the podcast. Now, would you like a jingle? I'll write it myself and sing it in 4-part harmony. And they say, yeah, that sounds great. Now it's transactional.
Right.
Now
you don't want it to be transactional. You just want to do whatever the hell you want.
Dude, you know what I wrote for?
Oh, my gosh.
Manscaped. It makes a product to shave your testicles, obviously. But not available during the Great Masturbation Scare. Thank you. But they needed a jingle. Obviously, your gonads are covered with curly black hair, fuzzy and furry, they're dangling there. Your scrotum needs trimming, but don't you despair. Manscaped is here so your balls can be bare. Boom. Art or commerce?
Well, history, too. I mean, the style of that songwriting, it's very...
Get on the mic if you're going to be interesting, damn it.
I'm sorry. I was backing off in case we had to edit this out.
Stand back. I don't know how big this thing gets.
This could be bad. You wrote that in the classic style of like 40s, 50s radio-based jingles.
That's right.
That bled into television.
That's right.
The television that you and I grew up with, being of an age, that that jingle's lost on somebody that's, born after 2000, and yet it's still catchy, still hooky.
We had denture fit for a
well,
month.
we know who your demographic is.
When your teeth are going south, get denture fit inside of your mouth. Ridiculous. No ad agency would ever bless that.
Well, in 1953, they would have had 3-part harmony from some of Andrew's Sisters knockoff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's the question. I do that to stay sane. It makes me laugh to be home in my office with my little piano and go, oh, geez, this is so stupid. Sometimes it's indulgent. Sometimes I think it's appreciated. Mostly, I think it's tolerated. But I'm not doing it for any reason other than to kind of somehow stay grounded with this weird part of my past, the splinter in my mind. You know? I bet you're doing something similar.
I mean, it's irony, like we're talking about. The irony is the being in on the joke and pushing the limits of the joke and maybe going too far, maybe not going far enough. And you get to, that's delicious. To get to live with that, to have that built into your thing. I was like, and I get to do whatever the hell I want because of what I've done elsewhere that lets me have that. And I've there's so many ironies, I can't draw that well. I still use a notebook, analog, to sketch what I'm going to do. And you show that to somebody, there's no way they will or should hire me based on that. And they're not. They're hiring me on what they've seen me do on the street. It's like, pay no attention to the man behind this drawing. Pay attention to the screen, the big Oz, not the fumbling guy from Kansas. They're also, because they're hip and they like irony too, they like the ironies. We hired this guy who carries this notebook and he draws these terrible things in and then they turn into swans. Everybody loves the ugly duckling story. Because all of us have an ugly duckling inside us still. And we also think we have a swan inside us, and both live there, rent-free, as they say.
Ducklings and swans and seagulls, crows. God, man, we cast a wide net.
We throw out one chicken bone and see what we can catch.
Yeah, because we know something's going to latch onto it, and they won't let go until they get too close. Then
to their death.
Then you sit on the hot stove, and then you learn. Teachable moment.
Folks, if you're listening, do not try that trick at home. Nobody should sit on a hot stove, not even a seagull or a crow.
It's crazy, man. The most honest I've ever felt was actually on QVC when the entire, 24/7, it was a commercial. The whole thing was a never-ending commercial.
Right.
The job then was to make the commercial feel more like content, to be more human in that ridiculous construct. Everything today is the opposite. Today it's like, oh, you're making I'm practicing my craft, I'm making my art, and now somehow or other I gotta.
That's ironic too, in a sad way.
Well, when have you felt the most congruent or honest in this weird nexus of commerce and craftsmanship?
I mean, now to some extent, as we're talking about this, and now that I'm in late career, probably. I'm going to turn 68 in a few months.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Have you thought about a haircut?
Oh, my God, I don't have to. My wife thinks about it for me. We were going out the other night, and she came at me with the scissors. Yeah, no, that's coming.
The sound of inevitability. Back to the Matrix.
It sounds like scissors.
If I didn't properly thank you for indulging the creative process at the end of our day, when we were drinking a beer and you brought out your guitar. And I had in my head, you know what? Somebody's got to do it. Needs some kind of song. And I'd been kicking something around.
Yeah, you had the beginnings.
I had the beginning. And we sat down and, when we got done with that, I still didn't have the end, but I had something I could use in the episode.
It was in the episode.
It was in the episode.
Yeah.
We filmed. Actually, you know what? It's a really good example of the creative process, whatever that means. In this case, it was fueled by humidity, heat, beer. Exhaustion. And you had a guitar.
Spontaneity.
But you're a child of the world, man. You know that, wait a minute, if Mike turns this into a theme song and it defines the series, well, you had a role in creating that. That's where you met Mary, or somebody met Mary. And all of a sudden, I remember CNN was like, well, wait a second, man. Who wrote this song? I'm like, well, it's not even really a song yet. It could be. And I'm like, well, if it is, what are we going to do about Evan? He's got to sign a piece of paper. And now it's just like that. a couple of craftsmen and artists are in a world where
There's a corporate overlay to everything.
everything.
Now, I remember I wrote all the lyrics down, I charted it with chords, and I went to put it in your hand, and then I pulled it back and I said, so how are we handling this?
Right.
You know?
Right.
In my world of musicians, this is a co-write.
Yeah.
And you said, oh, don't worry, Evan, you'll find him a very generous person. We know how to handle this. I go, great, and hand it over. I've got cameras. I've got a witness in the neon guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about the fact that I dropped out of law school. I want this just to be a spontaneous moment, two guys at a bar coming up with a thing.
Right.
3 weeks later, I get a 2-page thing that says, I hereby relinquish all rights to the song. Somebody's got to do it.
Yep. I am so sorry for that, man.
That's okay.
Not my thing.
No, I know it wasn't. It's part of the lesson, part of the curve. And that's their job.
Can you find that song, Chuck?
Yeah.
It's at the end of the episode.
I got it.
It's in the episode. Yeah.
That was their job, the people who are protecting you, the people who are doing the law. And I said, absolutely not. That's not my understanding with Mike. That's not what, I'm not going to sign this.
Yeah.
And if you want to go further, I'm going to hand it to my attorneys, and that's what you guys are for.
Yeah.
And that's how it'll work out. And then it disappeared. And then it was on the episode. So it's like, well, what did happen? And that's the thing. You can say that about every moment of
Yes.
every day. It's like, what just happened and what does it mean?
Exactly. What's the sign mean? How much, where's the content?
God, Herb's Market is getting a lot of good.
I heard a lot of play. It's a shame they're out of business. So law school English, architecture.
Yeah, none of that
music.
worked out. None of that worked out. Opera,
interesting.
singing opera.
Yeah.
Not everything works out.
Hawking stuff in the middle of the night.
I mean, that goes back to the great
He got some
masturbation.
gas into those tubes, he blew it. Well, then I wandered in. I thought I could improve it. No. The Kings of Neon, they're the guys who gotta do it. You know why,
Go
right?
chorus.
Somebody's gotta do it. Somebody's gotta do it. Everywhere I
perfect
wander,
branding
people
moment.
put their hearts into it.
Oops.
It ain't the love of money or the way they might accrue it. Old or young, we're having fun. Somebody's gotta do it. And that's the way that song goes.
That wasn't what you ended up using.
No.
But it was similar.
Well, it absolutely positively put me on a track. And then later, when CNN decided, oh, you know what, this thing is actually going to air, how do you want to promote it? What came out was, somebody's got to do it, somebody's got to do it. I found a place where people laugh and put their hearts into it. It ain't the job, it ain't the pay, no matter how you do it. A little work, a little play, somebody's got to do it.
Same structures.
Same structure.
Yeah.
You probably would have had a winning case. 'Cause
Might have.
I wound up in a bar not far from here, and we went in, and I taught, 60 people that
Right.
song.
You
And
had a
there's
chorus of seagulls and crows.
seagulls and crows and
Yeah.
murders
A
and
murder.
gaggles and everybody.
I've had situations with other clients who are also friends of mine where we got on either side. It was a design question. It's like, I designed that logo. Yeah, well,
Did you?
I did. Now, this is a true story. I won't mention names. They said, well, we need to own that. And I said, well, okay, then, how are we going to handle this? He said, how about we put you on retainer for a few years? You're going to get some money every year. We can write it off as, in other words, we're not acknowledging anything and you're not acknowledging anything. This is a gentleman's agreement. We're friends, but also he saw me as a threat to his business. I saw him as a threat to my sovereignty as a designer. Even if I hold the copyright, is it not in my best interest to see the thing go wild?
Right. You have to choose.
Isn't that what I'm after?
Sometimes you're Lennon, sometimes you're McCartney, sometimes you're
Sometimes
Ringo.
you're Karl Marx.
Sometimes you're Ringo.
Yeah.
But look, Dirty Jobs is very personal. It was a tribute to my granddad, and it was hard to get it on the air. And when I finally did, the network didn't even want it. Even when it rated, they didn't want it. They shelved it for a year. And then, the people just wore them down.
Wanted it, yeah.
The people wanted it, and we decided to do it. And I signed a piece of paper that Mary, who you just met, still busts my balls over there. It's the worst deal I could have signed. But there's no way I could have got that show on the air. There's just no way. So I agreed to things that were just horrible, but would only ever be rectified if it worked.
left.
How many rock bands have the exact same story? They sold away all their rights
Yeah.
just to get to play and record their music. And they're as harrowing as it was. Did we not all win? Because the music got out there. And in the case I'm thinking of, Fogerty gets to actually buy it back 40, 50 years later.
Yes. Early in the first season, we didn't know there was going to be any more, but I believed in it, and I said, how about this? I'll work for free. You don't pay me anything.
Yeah.
Just let me own a piece of the show that I brought you. Just let me do that. And if there's money to be had, we'll whack it up later. It was like, sorry, this is not our model.
Not how it
Can't do it.
works.
It's the same kind of moment. You got to go, well, I'm still betting on the idea, and maybe later it'll lead to something good.
Isn't that how we do all of our careers?
Everything.
You bet everything.
Every damn thing, man.
All the chips go across the table.
All the time.
Every day. Every day. And I don't gamble. Like,
The hell you don't.
but I gamble incessantly.
How many times have I said that to you? Yeah. I hate Vegas in the casinos. I don't play games for money.
Except here we are playing a game for money.
Every day.
Every day.
Thank you again for the signs.
You're welcome.
Again, I'm sorry
Thanks for
it took
hiring
10
me.
years.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Conversation can take a long time and many turns. You didn't have a podcast then.
I barely had a song. I did have a suspicion
He's about to sum up.
while you were in there taking a crap in the middle of our conversation or whatever.
Yeah,
you
I was
did.
monitoring that. I left my phone out here so I could hear it.
Well, I said to Chuck, there's probably a long list of stuff you and I don't see eye to eye on, but I'm 100% sure that we are cut from the same cloth in the ways that matter, and I'm 100% sure the country and the world's a more interesting place with you walking around in it.
Well, likewise to you. And that's, people ask me going into this, what are you going to talk about? I said, I have no idea. Well, aren't you worried about that? I said, not a bit. For one thing, I think I'm better loose. And I think that's how you roll too. I've got a certain confidence that if I'm talking to somebody of reasonable intelligence, that we're going to have a good time and maybe get somewhere.
We didn't get to the AI, which is funny, because just for grins,
That was over the point.
I asked the AI, what would Mike Rowe ask Evan Voyles?
Oh, and it didn't
does
take
those
it long to
questions.
come up with an answer either, did
Immediate.
I didn't.
Can we do it again?
I don't think so.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Only if you put it to music, and I'm going to need you to sign a piece of paper.
I'm sorry, that's not my model.
Thank you. Was a fan. Continue to be one. Folks, at the risk of really, truly shameless plug once removed, if there's room on your wall for a little bit of neon, a little bit of argon, and you're trying to think about the design and you're trying to think who might do it, you would be a straight up fool, to go anywhere other than the neon jungle. And you would be very lucky indeed to get this rapacious, guilt-ridden capitalist Evan Voyles to do the work for you. He's all that in a bag of chips. A connoisseur of irony. Thanks, man.
And cut.
If you like what you heard,
And even if you don't,
won't you please,
pretty please, subscribe. Well, I hate to beg and I hate to plead, but please, pretty freaking please, please.